The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today in the Ask the BIM360 Experts Webinar, a bi-weekly webinar where we discuss how to get started with BIM360 Docs. We have a great agenda for you today. We will start by having a high-level discussion of the BIM360 platform. Then we will jump into the product for a product live demo. And after that, we will open it up for questions and answers. My name is Mohammed Abu Asali, and I am a Customer Success Manager at Autodesk, and I'll be your presenter for today's webinar. Before we get started, a few reminders, please. All attendees are on mute, but you can enter your questions at any time using the GoToWebinar questions dialog box. We will be addressing some of the questions live right after the live demo, so please stick around. A recording of this webinar will be sent to all registrants after the webinar to the email address you used for registration. Okay, prior to going into the BIM360 Docs platform, I have a couple of things that I would like to share with you. Today's webinar is, yes, about BIM360 Docs, but BIM360 Docs is considered as the common data environment within the BIM360 platform. So, BIM360 is a unified platform connecting your project teams and data in real time, from design to pre-construction, field execution to handover and operations, supporting informed decision making and leading to more predictable and profitable outcomes. BIM360 as a platform is very powerful and very flexible. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, by default, it natively integrates with the Autodesk authoring solutions like Revit, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, and Navisworks, and is built on the open API platform of Forge, which allows for custom developments and integrations with many third-party developers. Okay, before we move into the details of BIM360 Docs and get into the product, let me talk a little bit about the value of the platform. So in essence, or in general, BIM360 Docs allows us to control shared information across the team and across our projects, perform constructability reviews with 2D and 3D functionalities, so it's supporting both 2D and 3D workflows. This definitely helps us reduce the rework and the risk of rework on site through versioning and permissioning, and also helps us to manage the contract documents, specifications, and other files and folders, and definitely track the project activity throughout the project lifecycle. Today we will be talking about the 4 key areas of document management. First, how to publish drawings into the BIM360 Docs environment, how to view them on desktop and mobile devices. By default, we have the mobile app, which supports both iOS and Android. We'll also touch upon how to share information with having roles and permissions within the project team members, as well as how to mark up and create issues and much more. So I'm going to jump directly into the product and start the live demo. Okay, so this is how the BIM360 platform looks like whenever you sign or log in into it. I'm going to start with talking about the user interface a little bit, and then we'll go into the details of the account admin, project admin, and document management. Okay, so let's start by the top right corner of the screen. As you can see here, I have my picture, or my basically Autodesk account. This is where I'm able to change my profile settings. Next to my image, we do have this small little question mark icon or button. If we click on it, we do have a few very useful links that I would like to bring your attention to. If you click, for instance, on the account admin help, this will take you to the account admin help page, and this has a lot of information in an article-like format discussing different topics about BIM360 and BIM360 Docs. So at any point in time, if you want to know something about the product, you can just type it in here and you will find the relevant information that you're looking for. The second one that I'm going to talk about is community. So by clicking on this community option in here, it will take you to the community hub and forum, where you will be able to connect with other people like you working in BIM360 or BIM360 Docs. And then you will be able to see what questions they've raised before and what answers they've received. So again, connecting you with other members and peers in the industry. The third one is submit your ideas. This is very useful. This is what we call the idea station at Autodesk. So it allows you to submit your ideas for new features, new updates and developments that you would like to see in the product. It also allows you to vote for these ideas, your ideas and other ideas raised by other people across the globe, so that the product development team will be aware about and include it in the upcoming, let's say, releases. The final one, and this is very important, is contact support. This is highly useful whenever you have a technical issue with the product. Once you click on that contact support button, it will take you to the contact support webpage, where you will be actually getting a lot of information about previous technical issues raised before and their solutions, if any. And if not, you can directly fire an email to the Autodesk technical team, providing your details and the problem that you're having, probably attaching some videos or screenshots of the problem itself. And this is when the product technical support team will reach out to you in a matter of couple to few days to get more insight about the problem or else provide a solution. So this is it from the top right corner of the screen. I'm going to move to the top left corner of the screen. And as you can see, we have the BIM360 logo in here, next to which we have a drop-down list. This is where we're able to access our, let's say, hubs or accounts and the projects within these accounts. You might be working in your organization in multiple projects. So this is where you'll be able to filter out which project you are looking for and access it directly. Okay. Now, underneath this, we have the, let's say, the account admin. So this is what we call the hamburger button or the 9-dot box. This is the button or the cable that allows you to get into the different services or features you have within the BIM360 platform, depending on which services you have already subscribed to. We'll get to this in a second, and this will be shown differently once we get into the project admin or to the document management folder. Before we go into that, we're now in the account admin page or portal. This is where whenever your organization subscribes to BIM360 or BIM360 Docs, let's say you will be the first one as the account admin, and this is where you will basically land within the BIM360 platform. You will be able, for instance, to do multiple things in here, and this is very important. I'm going to start from the right side going all the way to the left. The apps tab allows you to integrate with other third-party developers, customizations and things that were developed on top of the platform. Settings. The settings tab allows you to add account admins, and it's very important whenever you get your account activated to add at least one more or multiple account admins, just in case something happens with your account, for you to be able to access the projects, other people to access the projects, basically. Definitely you have here the profile. I can see all of the account administrators. I can easily come in here, click on the plus button and add additional account administrators. The analytics tab here provides analytics regarding to your project from an account admin perspective. So you'll be able to see, for instance, how many people, how many members within your project are having access to certain features. Let's say how many let's say document management licenses are consumed, project management cost, etc., etc. So it's very useful from a account admin perspectives. Roles and companies, by default, we have a stock list of roles pre-populated in the system, but this is very useful for you to create additional roles and give them certain access rights to the different services we have in the BIM360 platform. Companies, likewise, so in your projects, you might be working with multiple, let's say, stakeholders from contractors, subcontractors, even the client and consulting firms. So this is where you will be able to add them in here and have them also part of your projects. Members, this is where you will be able to add, have a full view of the global members list. And this is where also you'll be able to add these members or add new members to the list by either manually inputting their details and adding them to the project list, or sorry, to the account global list, or else you can basically import these members by bringing in a spreadsheet. So there's a template that you can download or have it filled out and then import it automatically into this space. Finally, and most importantly, is the Projects tab. This is where you will be able to manage your projects, basically get access to the different projects that you've created, and definitely add or create new projects. So for the sake of this live demo, I'm going to create just a simple test project to show you how simple it is to create one. So I'm going to just click on the Add button in here. As you can see, we get a new pop-up window. We just have to type in a couple of fields. Some fields are mandatory to be for the project to be created, like the project name, the project type, and the language. If you're, for example, utilizing the field, let's say service within BIM360. Okay, the rest is all optional for you to add or not. So let's just start by typing in. So I'm gonna just type in ask the experts. Okay, project type. We have many different project types. You can choose whatever you like. Is it a restaurant? Is not? Let's say we are working on a convention center. That's fine. You can specify the construction type. You can specify also the project value, contract type. Different ones already populated. You can also input the start date, end date, and many other details as well. Plus having a thumbnail or an image uploaded that will make your life easier managing through the project and getting to know which one is which. It's highly important to mention that whenever you select your language for the field project language, this is like a one-time only selection. If you select it and you activate the project and you run it, you cannot basically roll it back or change this option later on. So it's very important to decide which language you want to use. So we're gonna just click on save and continue. Okay, its project name is valid, fine. So as you can see, we have this notification, project profile saved. It's gonna create the project in the BIM360 platform. Automatically took me into the project admin, let's say workspace or module. So if I click back in here, as you can see, I'm out of the account admin and now into the project admin space. Okay, so we've created the project. Now we're able to basically activate services within that project. So for this project, maybe we wanna allow people to have access to document management or maybe field management or model coordination, right? So it's up to us now to decide. By default, you will have access or activated as the insight, which is the analytics and reporting for our project. But for the sake of this demo, I'm gonna activate the document management or BIM360 Docs. I'm going to click on activate. It's very simple. Another window shows up asking me if I would like to create a project folder structure based on an original template that I have used before. This basically drives standardization in the projects, in your projects, so that you have the same folder structure and the details and permissions in them. In my case, I'm just going to say, no, please don't apply a project template. Hit activate, and yes, confirm once again that I don't want to activate without it. Yes, I want to activate without a template. Once I do that, it's going to take a few seconds for the service to activate. In the meantime, as you can see, I'm going to walk you through some of these. We have multiple modules or services on top of BIM360, not just BIM360 Docs. For instance, if you're working on site and you want to do some field management, we have also options. We have the what we call the next gen field management, which you can activate from here. And we have the classic field, which you can also activate. I mean, you can activate this one or that one depending on your preferences. The same goes with model coordination for clash detections. You can activate the next gen, or else you can activate the classic glue. It's up to you. We'll just give it some more time for the docs to activate. And definitely, very useful for all of the project stakeholders to understand what they have access to. So this is now activated. Perfect. We can have an idea about the companies which are available for this project, or else let's go directly into the members tab. So in here, we are able to add members to the project. Yes, we have already added these members to the global list in the account admin, and this is a prerequisite. So all of the members that should be working on all of your projects have to be added in the account admin list. Whenever we move to specific projects, then it's up to us or the project manager or the project admin to add members that only have access to this project in particular. Okay, so I'm just gonna, for example, add a new project member. Let me type, for example, the name of one of my colleagues, Soren. As you can see, it automatically detected his name and his email address because this member was already added in the account admin global members list. I click on him and then I select yes. And this is where my colleague is now added. I can basically assign him to a company if by default that company was not assigned previously in the account admin. Let's say he's working for another company, Autodesk Middle East, and then I can assign him a role as well if needed. Okay, here to the right hand side, I can give him access to certain services within the project. I might maybe would like him to be a project admin or not. I definitely want to give him access to Insight, and for document management, he can, for example, be just a member, or if I click on it again, it might be, you know, this activated. If I click on the project admin, I activate him as a project admin. He can be not just a member, but also an admin within the document management space. So I'm just gonna keep it as such and then add the project. Once I click on this add to project, my colleague Sorian will receive an email notification to in his Outlook or in his inbox, basically, informing him that he was added to a project with a hyperlink. Whenever he clicks that hyperlink, he will be basically brought in here, and he has just to sign in using his Autodesk ID, username, and password, and then he will have the access to the project of Ask the Experts, which we've just created. Okay, this is it for the account admin, project admin. Basically, let me go back to this 9-dot box or the module selector. As you can see now, we have access to the document management module, which we've just activated. If we click on that icon, I'm going to move directly into the document management space. And now we're going to talk about the folder structure in here. So by default, whenever you create a project, and let's say in our case, we don't have a template that we've used, we're going to see two buckets of folders. We're going to see the plans folder, and we will see the project files folder. Now, there are some differences between the two. I'm going to explain them briefly. So project files, think of it as a bucket or a warehouse of all of your files, folders throughout the project lifecycle, from photos, specifications, contract documents, estimates, sheets, 2D sheets, 3D models, you name it. So you can basically store anything in here. In plans, it's more or less the same thing, but with plans, you can, it's highly intended for sheets and models with multiple additional capabilities. So for instance, if you upload a Revit model or you publish a Revit model or an AutoCAD model to plans, it will automatically extract all of the created, all of the sheets within that model. It will also extract the 3D views from the Revit and place them as individual items, and will also allow us to apply some optical character recognition in terms of detecting the information or metadata available in the let's say title blocks of the drawings or the sheets uploaded. It even works with scanned PDFs. It doesn't have to be like a PDF exported from AutoCAD or Revit. So this really helps a lot in managing of documents and files and models, and saves a lot of time for the document controller. Now, it's easy in here. We can definitely right-click at any point in time, add a subfolder. We can create, let's say, a subfolder for the different disciplines, architecture, MEP, etc., etc. And we can basically give access rights or permissions to each one of these folders. I can do it either by clicking on the ellipsis button or the 3 dots over there, or just right-click over it and go into permissions. Now, in permissions, as you can see, you know, we have two people in here, and I can basically give access. So because Soren is an account admin, he has full access right, full control, but we can also add additional people in here if, let's say, are added to the project. Just to walk you through the different permission level, you can grant, for example, the view only option for third party or additional people that just need to get some access into certain folders within the project and view the models or sheets or documents without being able to delete or control or add anything to them. You have view plus download. It's viewing plus downloading those documents. You have the upload only feature, which allows them to upload documents to a certain folder without being able to view anything in it. View, download, upload, and edit. And finally, the folder control, which allows them full access with full of the control capabilities to the folder. This, by the way, can be done by adding people by name, by role, or even by company. So it makes it really flexible by which we can assign those permissions to the different stakeholders and team members within the project. Okay, the same applies to project files. You can add different folders, etc., etc. So this is from the, let's say, document management folder substructure or folder structure that we have in here. Very simple to use, very simple to add, and definitely we can create it from an original template. We have other tabs in here for reviews. Within Docs, we are able to initiate a design review cycle for the files available within the document management folders. We are able to send transmittals, and we are able also to track issues throughout the project. We're going to see that in a live project in a second. Okay, with that said, let me move to another project which is already populated and has a lot of different models and features. Back again to this drop-down list. So I'm going to look for the file which is docs. Let's say docs EMEA. Okay, docs demo EMEA. This is the one I would like to move to. I just click on it. It will load within a few seconds. And there we are. We are in the docs demo EMEA. I'm going to go back to the folders. And in here, as you can see, this is a project with a lot of files and folders. Again, the same basic structure of plans and project files. If I click on project files, you can see that the stakeholders in here or team members have created different folders for different purposes. Okay, let me move back to the plans folder. Same here, we have the owners, transmittal package, archiving, etc., etc. I'm going to go to the design part of things. Design work in progress, let's say the architectural discipline. And in here, we've also created a few folders, one for the BIM models, another folder for the drawing PDFs, and a third one, for instance, for the drawings in DWG. It's completely flexible, up to you to decide how to split those in your projects. If I go, for instance, to the BIM models, the folder where we've uploaded some of our BIM models for the project, you're going to see once I click on the folder that all of the files and models within that folder are shown in a list view format. I can basically filter by name, by title, by different attributes. I can see, and we're going to see that soon, how many markups, how many issues were created on a certain document or model, and how many RFIs as well. And the status of the model, whether it's, or sheet, is it approved, not approved, depending on the workflow that we've created and the status that we've assigned to the document throughout that workflow. Okay, we do have another way of viewing files rather than having them in a list, which is the thumbnail view, basically allowing us to have more in-depth information or understanding of what's in each and every file of those files, right? So you can see like a 3D view or even the 2D sheets in here. Okay, you might think that these are separate sheets or models. However, these were basically all extracted from one single Revit model that was published to BIM360 plans folder. One single model in Revit published in here. Docs automatically extracted the 3D views and the sheets within that model. I'm going to go back to the list and go to some of these files. As you can see, these are coming from Revit models. These are, for example, RVTs. We do have a lot of them in here, but they're all from the same. So let me just go, for instance, and click on this one, the 3D view 1, etc., etc. I see that we have a version track history of all the documents and models uploaded to Docs. If I click on here, I'll be able to see the full history of the versions. And again, this is managed automatically by Docs. And let's suppose in your project for a certain model, you have over 15 or 20 different revisions. What you can do over here is basically select, I want to check version 1 versus version 15 or version 10 versus version 14. And in my case here, I just have 2 versions. So I'm just going to select compare. These are selected, hit the compare button. and within few seconds, Docs will basically show me the different versions of this model. And by the way, what you will see in here is a 3D viewer that is way more powerful than the original one we used to have included. This is the second generation viewer. It does not require to download anything. It's basically doing all of the work in the browser itself. It's very powerful, very user-friendly, and allows for high visual fidelity. Okay, so what we've done over here is we've viewed the two versions together. As you can see, we have the version 1 versus version 2. And what Docs automatically created for me is the changes matrix. So it detected between two different Revit models, Revit versions, the added items, the removed and the modified. I can basically filter them out, check only what are the added items. In this instance, it's just doors, as you can see. I can click on the door and I can have all of the information of that door in here. I can definitely filter out by discipline. Let's say I want to just check the modified, right? And I'm just going to highlight something in here. So let's say you click on an item, it gets highlighted within the model. Notice what happens. It's detecting also the changes. So head height by 1 inch and the still height by 1 inch. This is the change that we've encountered. So it was moved by 1 feet in the Z direction. So we see that in version 1, this is the previous location of the window, and version 2, this is the second location of the window. So it's shown us visually what has changed between the two different revisions or versions, sorry, making it a lot easier to detect those changes. Now, the beauty of this, other than automatically detecting those changes in 3D by different types and different disciplines, is it being allowed to export this as a file. So you can basically export it, and this is where we'll get a CSV file with all of the details of the changes in it, so allowing us for better change management. Okay, I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna go now, instead of having the 3D overview, I want to have the split view or side-by-side view. So I can have this in here, and I can definitely check different things between the version 1 and version 2 if need be. Okay, I'm gonna close this, maybe go to the 3D view itself and just show you one of how the model would look like basically in Docs. So if I click on the original model, the Revit model, this is how the model will look like, right? You can see I have the full capability of viewing all of the elements within the model, and basically clicking on each one of these elements and getting the information or the properties, the metadata coming from the Revit model itself or the Revit item itself. Okay, now it's worth mentioning that yes, I do have the full 3D view. I can do measurements in here. I can make like a walkthrough in it. I can do sectioning, fit to view, create windows, orbiting, etc., etc. But we can also do something very important, which is combining or having an idea of how the 3D and 2D views are connected together. So if I click in here in the split view mode, I'll have access to the 3D model itself, as well as the sheets or 2D views of that same model. The beauty of it is that, let's say I'm reviewing some document, some sheet, and I would like to understand where is this wall located. If I click on it on 2D, it's automatically gonna highlight it for me in 3D in a different color, and it's gonna also zoom into it so that I know exactly where does it fit within my model or within its context. So simplifying the life of reviewing documents, reviewing sheets in the 3D model space. And definitely in here I can move to different views, different sheets. As you can see, we have the 3D and we have also the 2D views populated in here. So at any point in time, I can go into that one and then select and understand what is going in my model or project. Okay, so we're done with this. We've seen the 3D model, we've seen the sheets. Okay, let's now go to, we've said earlier that BIM360 or BIM360 Docs supports both 3D and 2D workflows. Let's suppose you're working with PDFs. So I'm gonna go to the drawing PDF folder. Same story. It's giving me all of the insights about what's going on in the sheets themselves. I'll click on the list view, And again, let's say I'm going to open the A001 site plan, which is a PDF file uploaded. And as you can see, the status is approved versus the others. Again, we have 2 or 3 different versions. I can check it in here. Let's say this is the current one that's set for current. I want to compare this, the version 1 with version 2. I hit compare. And again, it's going to do something very similar to what we've seen in the 3D model. It's going to overlay version 1 and version 2 together. Okay, let me just select another one. I would like to select this one, excuse me. I think this is more, I would say, easy to detect the changes. So it's going to overlay these different PDF sheets for my model. And as you can see in here, it gave them different colors. So we have the lower level A101, which is version 2 in red. I can turn it off to see, for example, the version 1. I can turn it back on, and it's just overlaying these together. Now, if I zoom in, I'll be able to see exactly the differences between the 2 versions, right? It's highly visual. I can also align them, because sometimes you already know, if we export PDFs from DWGs or from 3D models, these PDFs get altered a little bit. So if these are not properly aligned, I can come in here, use the alignment tool, and align them manually for proper version comparison. In my case, these are properly aligned, so I can see exactly what's going on between the 2 different, let's say, versions. And I can also, instead of just having the 3D view, sorry, the 2D view by colors, I can move to another view, which I also like, which is the side-by-side view, right? This provides us with this splitter over here. And by just dragging or sliding this splitter, we are able to tell, for instance, as you can see here, in this room, 1511, a door was basically removed or added between the 2 different versions. On the right-hand side, I have the version 1, and on the left-hand side, I have version 2. So if I slide, I know, for example, that in version 1, I had the door in there. In version 2, this door was eliminated. Again, simplifying the process of detecting the changes in 2D sheets or 2D plans as PDF files. Okay, so we're done with the comparison in the 2D space, and we've compared the versions. Let's go into the, okay, so we're done with this, architecture. Okay, so very simple. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you can create, let's say, issues, markups, and RFIs. So I'm just going to open any file in here, let's say this ground floor. And in this plan, or let's say sheet, you will be able to directly see all of the issues created by your project team or people who have access to this file, the public markups that were published, and you can definitely do your own issues and markups. By default, if you look to the right-hand side of the screen, you have the full capabilities of creating many different markups, from freehand sketching to adding some text, call outs with arrows, and if you click on it, you have multiple ones, creating some clouds. Let's say, let me just zoom in here and specify here. We were in this room right before, 1511. I'm gonna create a simple cloud in here. I'm gonna specify a color for myself, which is blue. I can change the, let's say, line thickness if need be. Okay, just to highlight where the door is. I can basically have text. So here I can type door removed. Okay, I click, and as you can see, it's in there. Now the beauty of this is that I can save my markup, and this becomes viewable for all of the people who have access to the project. I can definitely, let's say, hide the other ones, but this is just a collaboration space, let's say. Other than the markups in here that we've added, we can also do measurements like we've seen in the 3D view, so that I can make measurements and say, I recommend that this door be shifted by 20 centimeters, for instance, or this corner be rounded, or whatever the case might be. So we have some tools in here that help us with the design review of these documents or models as well. Okay, So in order to access and see all of these markups, we do have to the left-hand side or the left pane in the screen, the markups button. If I click on markups, I'll be able to see all of the markups that were published publicly by different stakeholders, as you can see by some of my colleagues earlier. So mine is still private, but I can definitely publish it. If I click on the other one by my colleague Soren, I can directly get to that and understand what he has commented on or wants to change. The same with the other stakeholders of the project. Other than markups, a very powerful feature, which is the issues. I'm quickly able to view all of the issues. By the way, all of these pins, the yellow ones, the violet, the blue ones, are basically pins for issues that were created previously in the project, or for this particular file or model, to be exact. If I click on that, let's say issue, it will automatically open my issue window, issue details, showing me all of the details, who created it, basically, the guy who created it, to whom it was assigned, the due date, and many other things as well. If there are any attachments involved, probably maybe a picture taken from site, or another model, a Revit model, AutoCAD, full 3D model that's attached for it, and the activity of the issue, by time, by date, and who did what. So we have a full track record of the issues themselves. Okay. Now the good thing is, if I click on issue, I can create an issue myself. Very simple. We click on the create issue button in here. I just go to the model. I'm gonna pull or basically pin this to the model, and by default it's taking the yellow color because we've already set it up to be as open, right? And we have multiple things. If I put it as draft, it means it's just personal. If it's open, it's public, and it's gonna go around to be resolved or approved. So select from a template. By default, we are able to select a template for these issues, and this is one of the latest enhancements in BIM360 Docs. I can specify what type the issue is related to. This is very important for insights and for project reporting later, to detect what is going wrong in the project. Is it the building? Is it the construction? Is it the coordination between the teams that are creating many issues within the project or not? In this case, it's design. I can give it a title, for example, door removed. Okay. Please reinstall, or whatever the case might be, right? Assign to, we can assign this to someone. So I'm gonna, let's say, assign it to my colleague, since I'm the one who's raising this issue. And definitely we can choose a due date. So I want my colleague to reply back or take an action by Sunday, the latest. I can provide location details, and I can also here have all of the pre-populated locations coming from the project or the Revit model. So as you can see, automatically I have the floors. I can split it up by rooms, by areas. Very flexible, very user-friendly. One of the major fields that we highly recommend that you guys fill in is the root cause. Again, what is the root cause for this problem? Again, design deficiency or design coordination. And this will help us again with the reporting later. I can provide additional description, more specific locations, details, and then I can just hit create. Once I hit create, this will be created and will be saved. As you can see, new issue has been created, and then I can access it from the issue list. So everyone within or having access to this project or this model will be able to view my issue. By default, since I've assigned this issue to my colleague Soren by now should have received an email saying that I assigned an issue to him, and in that email he will have a hyperlink. Once he clicks that hyperlink, this will directly bring him into this same view and show him the issue that I have created with the markup on top, simplifying a lot the previous tedious workflows of sending emails with attachments and wasting a lot of time and effort in the design review process or handling problems within projects. So this is highly automated, and there is always a track record of what's going on for issues in my project or in my documents. Okay, with that said, let me just quit. As I mentioned, everything is being tracked in the system, so you will have access not just to the folders with the files and the versions, the markups and issues, but even the issues themselves are also populated or saved in a log file. So it makes it easier for the project manager or whoever is managing the project to check where are the major issues that are available on site, which are the ones that are basically overdue, so I can filter out by the ones that are overdue, no one has taken any action on them. I can filter by status, I would like to see only the open ones, right? And the cool thing is I do have many filtering options in here, so I can filter only the type I would like to see. As we mentioned earlier, design related issues, I'm into the design department. As you can see, only the ones that are related to design are populated. If I want to extract a document for me to follow up on it or share it with the document manager or any of the document project teams, I can create here an export. If I click on the PDF report, I will get a PDF report by default into my email. And if I extract a CSV export, it will download a snippet or a snapshot of these into my web browser, which I can view and share it with other team members. So this is it for docs. I'm gonna just show you one more quick video. Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now. Okay, so this is just a small short video recorded by one of my colleagues at Autodesk. This is to highlight that we do have a mobile app that works on iPad and Android devices. And it has basically the same functionality like the web browser one. As you can see in here, we have the app installed. We've already logged into the platform. You can see at the bottom, we have the docs, documentation, we have the issues, checklists, downloads, daily logs, and RFIs. If I click on issues, and let's say I'm on site or I'm in the office trailer, I can click on the issue that has been assigned to me, and then I can basically provide more details. I can, for instance, take a photo from site, or even attach a new document. In here, I can add information that will allow this to move from an open state to let's say answered, or even closed. So once I do that on site, if someone else is on the desktop app, you come back to your desktop app, you check, and you'll see that all of this information has been synced automatically. So the mobile app and the web app are connected in real time. Now, this is very useful to basically support both workflows, people in the office and people on the site. Now, in this instance, we're just typing a response, review, and change. We're asking for an action to be taken. Once we hit save, this is already saved. If this has already been saved and we already took some action, I can assign it as answered, and then the status of this, let's say, issue will be changed in my issues log. So just to highlight that this is again supported by both the web and the mobile app. Going back into the web browser, you will see exactly that this has been answered. So the issue has been moved up and let's say in status, and I'll have all of the details that were filled by my previous colleague or whoever was doing the work on site or in another office, etc., etc. So definitely connected workflows. And as a final reviewer, I can set it to closed. This means that this issue has been resolved and no further actions need to be taken. Finally, very quickly, it's very important to highlight that we have a lot of analytics and insight from the BIM360 Docs platform. So let me quickly show you how we can get into the project home from, again, this 9-dot box. If I click on it, I can go to the project home space or module. This is very useful for project managers or any people who would like to have a high-level overview of what's going on in the project. Once it loads, you're going to see that it's basically built on cards, so like boxes giving different sorts of information. So again, this is our project. These are what we call the different cards. I can have the project location, the weather, the quality risk, the safety issues, the project issues that are within my project, and these are highly flexible. So I can just at any point in time, let's say, click in here, change into, for example, from Fahrenheit to Celsius. If I want to get an idea about the project issues, I can either check them in here, I can view them all by clicking on this, or else I can hide the card if I don't need it. I can also filter the issue type. Let's say I just want to focus on quality. Okay, and then I'll just see only the ones that are looking for quality. So no need for me to go into the different modules or tabs within the BIM360. Again, I can clear this filter, I can, let's say, go to settings, I can expand it further, etc., etc. The power of this is that I'm able to customize the way I see my project home. So if you click in here, customize, you will be able to get into the card library, and by default from Autodesk we've populated a huge library of stock cards, so you can just click on the ones that you would like to see. I want to, for example, add the design review risk factors, I want to add the design issue trend, right? And what's really important is that it's not just the cards created by Autodesk. You can actually add some third-party cards, third-party integrations to your platform, and leverage the benefits that those third parties bring, from AR, VR support, from safety detection of issues on site, estimation, scheduling, etc., etc. You can definitely add many more, so I'm just going to add these two for now. And by default, these are going to show up at the very bottom. I have the design review risk factors. So I have, for example, 33 overdue reviews. I have overdue issues, 161. So very high level understanding of what's going on. Again, if I look into the design issue trend, I'll be able to see throughout my project when the issue was created in terms of design, and if it was resolved or not, and when, at which period in time we had a lot of design issues, and maybe I can relate it to some inefficiencies or some stakeholders within the project. Again, it's very flexible. I can just click on the card and move it to the top. Let's say put it in here. Again, it's up to me to decide how I would like to see what's going on in the project. I can also add definitely Gantt charts from an Excel sheet. I can add the project calendar, etc., etc. Finally, I have to click save, and then this view is saved for me at any point in time. Okay, I think with this, we're done with the live demo. So I'm gonna open it up for questions. Please feel free to, feel free to put your questions in the questions dialog box, and I'm gonna have a look at them and directly answer those questions. Okay, so some of you are asking about plans versus project files folder. Okay, as I mentioned, both are basically buckets for storage. In project files, you can store any file that you like, any model, any document, photos, media, even Microsoft Office files, which are also natively supported. In the plans folder, you get the benefit of three major functionalities: the optical character recognition for extracting information from the PDFs or the sheets. You also get the automatic extraction of the sheets from the Revit and AutoCAD models, and also the extraction of 3D views from the Revit models into the folder structure. So this is basically, in a summary, what we can do in plans versus project files. Yes, okay, we have a question about markups. Yeah, so by default, whenever you create a markup, you can set it to be just personal, just for you to view, or you can publish it for other people in the folder, or that have access permission to that folder and the files in it to view it as well. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to keep it private or publish it for public viewing. Okay. Doesn't hold a license. Okay. Can I 3D model? Okay. Yes, you can share with the latest release of BIM360 Docs. You can share files with external parties or external people that are not within your project. There is a share option there available now in BIM360 Docs that allows you to share these models with the people without them having access to your folders and doing anything with them. Yeah. So again, BIM360 Docs is not just for CAD. We've seen how we can manage PDFs, DWGs, BIM models from Revit, from Civil 3D, even published InfraWorks models can be viewed there, can be measured, can be marked up. So it's basically a very powerful viewer and manager of files and information. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, I can't see any. You can publish definitely the sheets or views whenever you directly save the BIM360. Let's say whenever you save the Revit model or AutoCAD model in your plans folder, these are automatically extracted by default, right? So it's not like you have to do it manually. No, you just have to save the Revit model or publish it to plans by having the BIM360 desktop connector installed, or else you just have to drag and drop your Revit model or the AutoCAD file into your plans folder, and this automatic extraction will take place. Okay, I can't see any other questions. We have different status of projects within Docs. We have the, let's say, active, we have inactive and archived. Basically active, everyone has access to it. Inactive, you can view things in it, but you cannot change things. And once you archive it, it's basically off and nobody can do anything with it or change it. This is just very quick definition of the statuses. However, feel free to check out the links, which I'm gonna post in the chat box. So I'm gonna, okay, in the chat box now, I'm gonna provide you with some links that are really helpful for you to check out the latest updates and information about the different aspects of Docs. So I'm just gonna copy paste them in here. This will basically help make your life easier in terms of, okay. So you can just copy paste them and check them later. So before closing off today, I wanted to share with you some of the additional resources we have at Autodesk. First, make sure please to check out the BIM360 release notes to stay updated on the latest and the newest releases of the BIM360 platform in general. We also have some additional webinars, as you can see on the screen, like the ones What's New, What's Next webinar, which is also a monthly webinar where we discuss the recent releases as well as the upcoming updates for BIM360 and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Definitely, if you are ready for, let's say, a deeper dive into BIM360 Docs, I would highly encourage you to join our BIM360 Core webinar, BIM360 Docs Core webinar, that is run by the Customer Success Delivery Specialist team. And finally, we do have this same session that you are attending today for different geos. So feel free to invite your other team members or people in different places around the world to attend these webinars from different locations. Finally, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Have a great day and stay safe.